An entirely unforeseen scene has now shaken the global entertainment sphere. In a moment clearly captured by international public cameras, the world seemed to stop for a second when Taehyung was seen being so close with a major figure from the world of sports, Shohei Ohtani. While the spotlight was on the togetherness of two figures coming from different fields, attention suddenly shifted to Jungkook, who in the visual recording appeared silent, frozen, even as if he had lost words. A disturbing question arose in many minds. Is this a sign of the end of the emotional bond long believed to tie Taehyung and Jungkook, known by fans as taekook? The scene not only became a hot topic on social media, but also a subject of serious discussion among pop culture analysts, entertainment journalists, and even academics researching the phenomenon of global fandom. How could one brief interaction between Taehyung and Ohtani stir the emotions of millions of fans worldwide, especially ARMY, who for years believed there was a special dynamic between Taehyung and Jungkook? Why was this moment instead regarded as a symbol of a change in the direction of their relationship? The main spotlight fell on Jungkook's expression. In various circulating recordings, though he uttered not a single word, his empty gaze seemed to speak louder than thousands of sentences. Many interpreted that silence as a sign of shock, even deep disappointment. But is that true? Or was Jungkook's silence instead part of a strategy of self-control in a tense situation? This question continues to roll without a definite answer, yet its impact has already caused emotional turmoil among fans. Taehyung, who appeared so at ease with Ohtani, added a new layer of controversy to the long narrative of taekook. All this time, the emotional bond between Taehyung and Jungkook had always been a topic that sparked heated discussion, endless speculation, and even internal conflict among fans. Now, Ohtani's presence in that circle gives rise to a new interpretation. Is this merely a spontaneous interaction, or is there a much deeper dynamic intentionally shown to the public? How could a world athlete suddenly become a meeting point influencing perceptions about one of the most talked about duos in the entertainment industry? It cannot be denied, Taehyung and Ohtani's togetherness gave a different impression. The two looked close, full of smiles, and displayed a comfort Taehyung rarely showed with figures outside his close circle. ARMY witnessing the moment split between admiration for the cross-world interaction of entertainment and sports, and deep sadness due to Jungkook's seemingly wounded expression. Is this merely an emotional interpretation by fans, or is there indeed a greater narrative at play? More surprisingly, the narrative did not stop at one moment alone. Across platforms, the discussion spread at extraordinary speed. Short videos, facial expression analyses, even cropped images of Jungkook bowing his head became intense material for review. Some even considered this the most dramatic moment in Taekook's public journey in recent years. Many also accused it of being tangible proof of emotional distance beginning to form between the two. The ever louder question echoed, has Taekook truly ended? A sense of loss now shadows many fans. For years, Taekook had been considered a symbol of closeness, friendship, and by some believed to be more than a professional relationship. Ohtani's presence in the middle of this dynamic created new tension. Has Taehyung now found another figure capable of filling the space previously associated with Jungkook? What psychological impact does this have on Jungkook, who had always been at Taehyung's side in many important moments? While the public is still busy interpreting the meaning of Taehyung and Ohtani's togetherness, the spotlight remains directed at Jungkook's reaction. Is his silence merely a form of respect in a public situation, or is he struggling to hide such deep emotion? No one knows for certain, yet the recorded visuals were enough to trigger a wave of sadness in millions of ARMY hearts. Some even wrote this was the first time they saw Jungkook lose his characteristic shine before the camera. This phenomenon also raises a broader question. Is the entertainment industry now deliberately allowing such emotional narratives to develop to ignite global public attention? Is Taehyung's togetherness with Ohtani part of a design strategy, or rather a sincere moment coincidentally caught on camera? Amidst the uncertainty, one thing is certain. Jungkook appeared so silent, and that silence became the most heartbreaking point. IT did not stop there. Many fans began connecting this moment with signs they claimed had long appeared. Taehyung and Jungkook's interactions becoming increasingly rare, their career paths more distinctly different, and the presence of new figures in each of their social circles. Are these all just coincidences? Or is there indeed a fundamental shift in the relationship that had always been tightly guarded from the public eye? As ARMY tears flow, speculation grows wilder. Some say this is only a temporary phase, while others believe this is the unavoidable turning point. For some fans, the loss of Taekook is not merely the loss of an interaction, but also the collapse of an emotional symbol they had long held on to. Is the public ready to accept this bitter reality if it truly happens? Or is there still a glimmer of hope that all this is just a great misunderstanding that will be unraveled in time? The moment of Taehyung with Ohtani that left Jungkook silent is now recorded as one of the most dramatic events in global fandom history. It reopens the old debate about the line between reality and perception, between fact and illusion, between true closeness and narratives built by fans. Yet behind it all lies a bitter reality that cannot be avoided. Jungkook's expression has inflicted a deep emotional wound, not only on himself, but also on millions of hearts that always believed in the power of Taekook. Now the world waits in tense anticipation. Has Taekook truly ended? Or is this merely a passing storm that will calm on its own? The question hangs in the air without a certain answer, but with such great impact. ARMY weep, Jungkook falls silent, Taehyung smiles with Ohtani. And the world once again wonders, is this the point where a chapter of history ends, or the beginning of something entirely different? Are we truly witnessing pure reality, or merely an illusion deliberately constructed to shake the masses' emotions? This is the question now arising after the public saw Taehyung's interaction with Ohtani that left Jungkook seemingly silent. Is Jungkook's expression an honest reflection of inner turmoil, or just a small piece of a larger scenario deliberately shown? Are we, as observers, not trapped in a visual game engineered to create drama, spark speculation, and ultimately boost global attention? Every picture, every video clip, and every snippet of comments circulating on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter has now become material for intense analysis. But how far can we assess their validity? Do the visuals presented truly represent the entirety of events, or merely selected fragments reinforced with certain narratives? How could millions of people willingly sacrifice their emotions over fleeting expressions that may not even reflect reality? Does this not show how easily public opinion is steered only by brief visuals without full context? The emotional reactions of ARMY, crying and writing their sadness across digital platforms, show how strong the impact of this moment is. Yet the fundamental question we must ask, does that sadness arise from reality that truly occurred, or from a collective illusion shaped by media narratives and online speculation? Could it not be that the public is trapped in an emotional snare exploiting Taehyung and Jungkook's closeness as instruments to trigger mass engagement? We must ask, who actually benefits from this uproar? Is this truly just a natural interaction coincidentally caught on camera, or is there a hidden agenda behind the spread of this content? Is social media a neutral space for sharing information, or rather an arena of grand fabrication directing the course of public perception? How far are we capable of distinguishing between authentic facts and sensational stories polished to form particular opinions? Jungkook's silent expression has now become the main symbol of this narrative. Yet we must ask, is his silence a mirror of genuine disappointment, or rather a part of subjective interpretation by the public already accustomed to reading every small gesture as if it carries major meaning? Could that expression be no more than a fleeting reflection cut from a broader context? What if that silence was just an ordinary moment exaggerated by the spotlight? Taehyung with Ohtani indeed created a dramatic image, but could it not be that their closeness was merely a normal professional interaction? Why was the public so quick to interpret that closeness as a threat to Taekook? Has the public grown too used to linking every move of Taehyung with Jungkook so that a third person's presence is instantly seen as an emotional betrayal? Does this not indicate that the fandom itself has built excessive expectations impossible to always align with reality? Digital media amplifies this drama with extraordinary speed. Short clips spread endlessly, accompanied by analyses of faces, body language, even nonverbal cues. But how valid are such analyses? Can we truly conclude the inner meaning of someone merely from a glance or a smile? Are such interpretations not more driven by fans' desire to find a story matching their imagination? Behind the flood of emotion, another major question arises. Is this merely a hoax wrapped in dramatization? Is the narrative of Taekook ending just a creation to maintain public attention? If so, are we not becoming victims of a sensationalist industry exploiting our emotions as commodities? What if in reality Taehyung, Jungkook, and Ohtani's relationship has no dramatic dimension as displayed? No one can answer with certainty. Yet we must not stop asking. What if the circulating videos are merely manipulated cuts? What if Taehyung and Ohtani's togetherness was simply a professional interaction exaggerated deliberately? Could it be that Jungkook was not at all disturbed, but the public already believed in a narrative polished to such an extent? Does this not serve as a warning for us to be more skeptical in consuming information? It is important we reflect. Why are we so easily swept away by emotion? Is this because fandom has built deep emotional dependence on their idols? If so, does this not mean we are surrendering our rationality to narratives that may not be true? Should we not test every piece of information with critical skepticism before allowing ourselves to be carried into sadness or anger? Army weep, the public speculates, and digital media celebrates the explosion of attention. But could it not be that all this is merely part of the cycle of sensationalism continually produced to maintain global interest? Should we not ask, is this event real or merely a media play? Is the news we read truly a reflection of facts or an artificial narrative designed solely to provoke emotional involvement? In the end, the greatest question we must ask ourselves: do we want to remain passive consumers who simply accept every piece of information without verification, or do we dare to be critical observers demanding real evidence? Do we accept to be endlessly led into drama that may never exist, or do we dare to reject sensationalism and seek clearer truth? The moment of Taehyung, Jungkook, and Ohtani, now debated worldwide, is a mirror of how fragile the boundary between fact and fabrication is. It affirms that in the digital era, every interaction can turn into global drama with only a slight touch of narrative. Yet, as a smart public, should we not question whether that drama is real or merely a stage of illusion? Should we not always remember that truth does not always align with what we see, and that every tear we shed may very well be born from a story deliberately created to control our emotions?